On this computer. I think we are all set, and I think we are on Facebook. I believe so. All right, everyone. Hello, 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 and welcome. I'm here with Emily, as you can tell, and we are going to talk about building a complete home workout routine. The reason that this is important more than ever before is, one, because of the obvious. We're all working out from home right now, whether we like it or not. And two, we're kind of having to make do on the drop of a dime. And I've had a lot of people reach out to me and say like, oh, where can I buy this? Or where can I buy this? Even friends, I had a friend earlier today living down in Nashville, Tennessee, that asked me like, oh, my husband wants a set of dumbbells. Where can he get this? And truthfully, right now, they're just not for sale, period. I checked on a pull-up bar for someone earlier, and Amazon won't even ship them out till they said it'd be delivered sometime between May and July. So kind of defeats the purpose. So instead, Emily and I were talking about it, and we're like, all right, well, let's help people figure it out, what they need to be doing or what they can do based on what they have. And so let me share my screen really quick. And so with that in mind, we put together a couple thoughts that we wanted to share, and it's basically just how to build a complete home workout routine. So that's what this is all about. And it really boils down to 3 basic steps. So again, we're trying to keep it simple. 3 steps, and then from there, it's kind of like, all right, looking at what's in your best interest. So we're going to talk about that really quick, won't take too long. And then I've got a couple questions that people have already sent in. And if you have any questions, throw them on Facebook and we'll answer them if we can. We might not, I don't know, we'll try. So anyway, the first 3 steps to figuring out a home workout plan. Step 1, and this may seem like common sense, but it's not always common practice, is to determine the goal. So what is it that you're looking to do? Are you trying to lose weight? Trying to gain muscle? Are you trying to just not eat everything in the pantry? You know, what's the goal? Just general health and fitness? You know, so the first step is to just figure out like what it is you're looking for. And so given the like change in routine, and if you're someone that is, let's just say you work in the mortgage business right now, and you're working 100 hours a week, like the goal might just be to survive and maintain and try to minimize your stress. And like, that is totally cool. Nothing wrong with that. So if you have more free time than normal, then, you know, you might want to use this as an opportunity to kick it up a notch. So step 1 is to determine the goal. Emily, I'll let you talk, like, because you've been having these conversations on a daily basis the last few days, a couple hundred of them probably. And so what are we talking about when we're thinking of like determining the logistics?
So when it comes to time, you know, if your routine requires you to only be able to work out, let's say 20 minutes in the morning, so you're looking at like set a timer for 10 minutes and do a circuit for 10 minutes and then take a break, set a timer for another 10 minutes, do a workout, and you can get a lot done in those 10 minutes. The second thing people are asking is the equipment, like what's the best thing to have? The easiest thing are sliders. You can do a lot of things, core work, lower body stuff with sliders. Have some sort of a weight that you can like do a squat with, whether that's holding that up at your chest or holding it down. And then with that same weight, you could do like a 3-point row with that. And that all varies with each individual. The other easy thing to have at home are like bands, any resistance bands, so that you can hook to a doorway and do any sort of pulling exercise. Because obviously we can do push-ups from the ground that don't require any equipment, but as far as still getting our pulling motions in, those resistance bands are really good for that.
All right, so yeah, what Emily, just when she was talking about doing the pulling movement, so one of the things to keep in mind is you want to keep everything in balance from a muscle standpoint. You want to work the muscles evenly. a lot of, and I see this right now, especially on a lot of stuff that you see online, like, oh, this home workout plan and this and that. It's very front of the body focused, a lot of push-ups and a lot of push-up variations. And the problem with that is they end up neglecting the back side of the body, which is where the bands and doing like a dumbbell row, like she just mentioned, come into play. And that's probably one of the biggest no-nos that you want to avoid, because we're already sitting hunched over a computer all the time. We already have poor posture, most of us, myself included. So the last thing we need to do is to do an excessive amount of pressing or pushing movements that only round our shoulders forward even more. So what she's talking about, like with the bands, with the dumbbell, to do rowing type or pulling type movements to work the posterior side of the body, incredibly important. And then step 3, and this is pretty much it, because it's straightforward, is just to create a plan. And that's what we're going to do now. So we're going to look at, based on the amount of time you have allowed, what kind of plan may you want to put in place. So first option, someone says, hey, you know what? I've got 1 day a week, I've got 2 days a week, I've got 3 days a week. I would say, if you're in that like 1 to 3 day per week time frame, you need to set realistic expectations. What I mean by that, if you're working out 1 or probably even 2 days a week, it's okay. I mean, it's a great start, or it's a great place to maybe help you maintain, but truthfully, you're not going to make a ton of progress by just working out once a week, and even twice a week's kind of pushing it. If you're working out twice a week, you really have to have all your ducks in a row nutritionally, and just making sure you're getting steps in and being active elsewhere in order to see much progress. So 3 times a week, that's a little bit more, a little more of a respectable amount as far as like, okay, you're going to see some progress there. If you're working out 1 to 3 days a week, we're going to recommend a total body strength training workout. And I can't hardly, I'm sure there's an exception to that rule, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I mean, it's just, Emily would agree that strength training is the foundation of everything we do. It's like if you're not doing strength training, it's like building a house on sand. So your fitness has to start with this strength training program. So cardio, running, jogging, getting outside, doing all the stuff is awesome. And I think from like a stress standpoint, it's super important, but you have to have that foundation of strength training in order to maintain your fitness and in order to make any progress with your fitness. It gives you the stimulus that it creates and the changes within the body. Nothing else will match that. So that's kind of just the foundation of everything. Now, once you get beyond that 3 days a week, that's when you've got a couple more options here. So if you're looking like at working out 4 times per week, and as Emily said, whether it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes, give or take anywhere in there, typically we're still going to want to maintain that 3 days per week of strength training. But then that 4th day per week, we would generally, depending on a person's goals, and that's why we talked about step 1, to figuring out the goal, that's where we would make another recommendation. If you're someone that is really focused on losing weight, we might want that 4th workout to be more of a metabolic focused workout. So if you're looking at like our live videos, that would be like our Tuesday, Friday workout, those metabolic workouts. It's a great little quick 20-minute way to burn some calories, get your heart rate up. So that would be a great way to sweat in a short period of time. If you're someone that maybe you just like, you're really tense, you're feeling stressed out, you're working like a dog, or maybe you're someone that just wants to improve your flexibility. Maybe that's your goal. You just want to feel better and move better. And maybe instead of doing 1 day a week of metabolic training, you should substitute that for more of a stretching workout. So again, getting back to those live classes, we have a stretching workout every Wednesday and Saturday. And yeah, the workouts it's specific to what we believe in. And that's why we have different days and different focuses, so that you can kind of pick and choose the workouts that you should do based on your needs and your goals. So again, still need the 3 days a week strength training, but then 1 time per week metabolic. If maybe you just want to get your heart rate up, you feel like just burning some calories. You've got a fat loss goal, maybe more of a stretching workout. If again, you just want to relieve some stress, relieve some tension, just feel better. I think stretching right now is probably more important than ever before for a lot of us. Moving right along, 5 times per week. So if you're working out 5 times per week, this is where you've really got 2 different options. Option 1 would be more of like 3 days per week strength training. And then those 2 additional days per week would be something where it's typically going to be 2 days a week, more of like a metabolic training or more of a stretching workout for the exact same reasons that we just talked about if you're working out 4 days per week. So if your goal is more relieving stress, just feeling better, maybe stretching is the way to go. If you want to burn calories, lose fat, maybe metabolic is the way to go. Or the other alternative there would to be doing more of a strength training workout and 4 times per week. And then 1 time a week, generally somewhere in the middle, would be more of like a metabolic or a stretching workout. Again, when you're working out this frequently, you've got a few more options as far as like picking and choosing what you want to do. Another option would be doing like 3 days per week of strength training. Let's just say you're doing that Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then on Tuesdays, you're doing more of a metabolic workout. And then maybe on Thursdays, you're doing more of a stretching workout. So again, the possibilities are endless. Moving right along, so 6 to 7 times per week. So if you're working out pretty much every single day, you got a couple options here. Option 1, 3 days per week strength training. Again, think of that foundation. Option 2 would be more 4 days per week strength training. Again, strength training's got to be the foundation of any fitness plan. Now, on top of that, what you decide to do, go back to the goals. Maybe you do, and again, there's some variation here. If you're looking at this first option, maybe you do 2 days a week of metabolic and 2 days a week of stretching, which would essentially be almost following the live workouts that we're doing every day at noon. So maybe you do Monday, Thursday, let's just say Monday, Thursday, Sunday strength training, I don't know, and Tuesday, Friday metabolic, and Wednesday, Saturday stretch, or something along those lines. Or you could do, 4 metabolic workouts if you're really focused on burning calories right now, because you can't keep your hands out of the cupboard. Or maybe you're doing a lot more stretching because you're just exhausted and running on all cylinders. So you've got many, many options there. Same thing, 4 days per week of strength training. You've got some flexibility, whether you do 3 days per week, any combination of metabolic and stretching, and no need to repeat myself. You get where I'm going with this. You can customize it based on your needs and goals. All right, now that we have that knocked out of the way, because again, don't want to take up too much of your time. So a couple common questions that I think a lot of you will find helpful, just because we're starting to see a pattern. Like, all right, we're getting these same questions over and over again. The first question would be, the first question that I actually received yesterday was, what about exercise substitutions? Like, well, what if I can't do this? Or what if this hurts? To that question, I would say focus on doing the same movement patterns. So what that means is, if you were doing, like, I'm thinking of the workout we did earlier today, where we did a row in kind of like an inclined plank position with a dumbbell. If that hurts your shoulder, then maybe you want to use a resistance band and do a row. So you're using the same movement pattern. So you're working the same muscles, but you're just doing a variation. If you're doing a lunge and that bothers your knees, well, maybe a lunge isn't the appropriate choice. But we still want to work the lower body. So instead we substitute that with like a sumo squat or a goblet squat where you're holding the weight at the chest, or another squat variation. So again, think, all right, you don't want to just necessarily completely scrap something. And if we're doing an upper body exercise, I'm generally not going to say, all right, we'll just do something for the lower body instead, because that doesn't make sense. You still want to work all the big muscles of the body. So we want to keep everything in balance, but you might have to make some substitutions to progress something, regress it, or maybe just lateralize it and do something like similar, but just a little different. So next question, and Emily, I'll let you take this one. What equipment is best? Or if someone said, you know what, hey, I want to spend $100, like, what would you recommend?
Like kind of we said before, a weight that you can pull with, the 3-point row. a weight that you can squat with, whether that be like a sumo squat, holding it down, holding it up at your chest, or like a lunge weight. So you can just get one weight for all three of those exercises. And then like the bands, like we said, and a lot of people have been asking about medicine balls just to kind of get some stress out if they have a place to slam it down. So anything like a medicine ball, that would be a good one as well. So again, so the weight, a band, medicine ball, and then sliders, like we mentioned earlier. Those furniture sliders are super cheap and you can do so much with them.
Yeah, they've if you're looking, like just off the top of my head, if you're looking for sliders online, you can buy them off pretty much any fitness website for like 40 bucks a pop, or you can do what we do and get them for I think $3.75 a pop from Walmart or Lowe's or Home Depot. So truthfully, there's no difference at all. The padding's just not quite as much, but it's fine because your feet are on it most of the time, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, I think that's great. The band for the pulling and a lot of core work, but yet that you can't really, there's not really a replacement for that. So those are all great things. Next question is and this was Amy Dieters just sent this in to me. What brand of bands would you recommend? And well, Amy, I would tell you, I'll show you right now. So what I would recommend is from our friends at Perform Better. So this is an amazing company we've worked with for years. So if you performbetter.com, I mean, they're awesome to work with. Just go to their homepage, go to shop, go to bands and tubing, and I think general bands and tubing. Uh-oh, come on, baby. Work with me here. Yes. And then you want the first place. Now, not to be confusing, they have two sets of bands here. First place travel bands, first place all-purpose bands. Me personally, even though they're an extra $6, get the first place all-purpose bands. The travel bands are okay for certain exercises, but the all-purpose bands, they give you a little bit more wiggle room, and I think they're so much better. So again, they're like 25 bucks a pop. One set will allow you to do most exercises. Nobody would need more than two at the absolute most. And they've got them from different levels. I will tell you, no one at our gym would need the purple one. Don't get the purple one. I don't care how entry level you think you are. Purple is a no-go. You all are much, much stronger than that. So don't do that. Again, that's the all-purpose exercise band from Perform Better. They also have foam rollers. So if anyone was going to say, what about a foam roller? I'm going to tell you the same thing. Go to Perform Better. They're awesome. Tell them I sent you, even though there's really nothing in it for me, but whatever. And then, all right, Emily, I'll let you take this next question here. Who would you pick? This was from Erica Stow. Who would you want on your team in a deadlift competition, Brad or Kelly?
Kelly, for sure. That was easy. That was an easy question. Give me something harder.
Okay, moving right along. All right, homemade equipment. What about, someone asked, what about like if you don't have weights at home, or, and it was actually sent in from someone who's locked up in quarantine for a few more weeks, and they're like, I'm not getting out of my house. What can I use around the house to be creative? A couple things that come to mind, and just so you know, something to leave you with a cliffhanger before we leave. I'm actually going to shoot a video. Emma and I were talking about this the other day. We're going to put together a video of all kinds of creative, crazy stuff you can use around the house. But homemade fitness equipment, you could use a gallon jug of water. I think that's like 8.5 pounds. You could use, and Alicia brought this one up to me, you could also use a jug of kitty litter. Apparently, that's pretty heavy stuff. I don't know, never moved it, but she said that that's pretty heavy. So you could use a container of laundry detergent. You could use, if you wanted something heavier for like a rowing type movement or like a goblet squat, you could use either like a paint can or a backpack and fill it up with books. One other thing for any type of like rowing or pulling movement, you could also, and this would work isometrically, so it's not quite the same, but it's pretty close. You could just use like a bath towel or yeah, like a bath towel and wrap it around the bottom of your foot to, if you're sitting down with your foot in front of you, pull it to you. Hopefully that kind of gives you a visual. I don't know, Emily, can you think of anything else off the top of your head?
I was going to recommend the backpack. I think you can do a lot with that. Even if you were just doing lower body stuff, just putting it on your back and doing the squats and everything, as well as depending on what you're doing, you could somehow probably manage to do a row with it, depending on what kind of bag it is. But yeah, that was my go-to one.
Yeah, or you can use like paper plates for sliders, depending on the floor. That would work. And
Air for step ups.
yeah, so you just got to get creative. So that's really, I can't, yeah, I think that's about it. Those are the main ones. Again, we've been kind of making a list of like stuff that you can use, and we're gonna actually create a separate video to help you kind of, you know, purge through the house and find all kinds of tricks and things to use. So anyway, we'll quit yapping. So thank you all for watching, and hopefully you got a little something out of this. I hope so, at least. So that's all we have for tonight, and have a wonderful evening. Bye.